I really liked How to Be Creative, and I really like the 26 suggestions that the author makes, but I took to 3 a little better than I did the rest of them. And the first one that I really liked was number 6, and it was entitled Everyone is Born Creative, Everyone is Given a Box of Crayons in Kindergarten, which I think is so true. Like, everyone has that creative gene in them, and it's just up to an individual to go ahead and use it in their lives. The author says that when you start getting older, crayons are replaced with algebra books, etc. And I think that as kids go on throughout life and they're giving those algebra books instead of the box of crayons, they become less apt to make something creative because they don't think they're allowed to anymore. But the author continues and says that make something really special and powerful and honest and true, then you will succeed. And if you try to make something that you think people want to see, you'll probably fail. Which again, I think is good, and I think that I've done this in my creative life where I just made a video for a public speaking class that was centered around my dad. And so I wasn't worried really about what other people were thinking about it. It was for him. It wasn't that I was necessarily trying to make something profound or wonderful, but it ended up being that because it was something special and it was something that only 2 people could really share, but everyone else who saw it really loved it. And I'll obviously, after reading this, continue to do that, just to try to make something that is awesome for me and not necessarily for anybody else, because I think if you make it awesome for yourself, it comes out to be awesome for other people too. The second thing I liked was number 9. The title was Everybody Has Their Own Private Mount Everest. They were put on this earth to climb. And the author says that if you don't make at least one attempt to climb this Mount Everest that you have, you'll definitely regret it later. And that everyone should admit that their own Mount Everest exists. And that's half the battle, just admitting that there is a dream that you want to achieve. And that's kind of what I think a Mount Everest is. It's equivalent to a dream. I recently visited Los Angeles on a media arts trip over spring break with a few other kids and a professor, and it was great to see LA because that's where I thought I was going to have to live if I wanted to become anything in my career field. But I realized that my Mount Everest, my dream in life, is to probably not go to Los Angeles. It's probably to move to New York at some point after I graduate and edit a feature-length film. And I think once I've done that, I'll be a pretty happy girl. The last suggestion that I really liked was number 10. It was called The More Talented Somebody Is, the Less They Need Props. The author goes on to say how Abe Lincoln wrote the Gettysburg Address on a piece of ordinary stationery that he had borrowed from a friend, and it kind of reminded me how J.K. Rowling started the Harry Potter series on the back of a napkin in a coffee shop in England. And the author goes on to say that's why you see so many second-rate art directors with state-of-the-art Macintosh computers and failing businesses with fancy offices, because everybody thinks you have to have a prop, or a pillar as he calls them, in order to succeed and get anywhere. And I've definitely been guilty of this. For a while now, I've been really wanting to buy a 5D Nikon camera that shoots great video, and really makes whatever you're working on spectacular. But the truth is, after reading this, I really don't need a 5D camera. I've done loads and loads of videos in the past 4 years with anything I can get my hands on, whether it be crappy cameras that I rented out from high school, cameras I've borrowed from friends, a flip camera, a $75 digital camera that I own, anything. And looking back, those videos that I made with those cameras that I just scraped up anywhere really turned out great. It really doesn't matter about what you have, it just matters what you do with what you have. And I think that was a great suggestion, especially for me, because I was definitely guilty of that.